Keep ringing annoyingly.
Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation.
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way.
If you saw the preview to today's topic, you saw my Cher impersonation, which I am known for since the 80s. I've always loved Cher, and I've always loved that song. I was at Johnny's Salon doing someone's hair one day, and he had a dark wig, and I just could not resist. So I wanted to share that to set up this broadcast, because for the rest of this month, I plan to share something every Wednesday that I would do differently if I could start over again. I am not a person with regrets. That is not what this is. I am a person with a lot of life experience, especially in the salon industry. And I think it's important for me to share with people if I were to look back from the lens of today and see how I behaved, the things that I did, what was successful, what wasn't. It makes me a little crazy because I really, really am so passionate about speaking to people, not even just younger than me, just less years of salon experience than me. And I force my, opinions and experiences on them to try and keep them from having the scrapes, cuts, and bruises that I've had. And what I'm finding is that people can't hear it because they're not in pain. So when you're not in pain, you think everything's rosy and great, and you do things the way you've always done them, and you're not ready to hear the advice. So my hope is that by making these coffee chats in the month of August, the things that I personally would do differently, whether you change what you're doing or not, that's not on me, that's on you. And I have to detach myself from the outcome. The reason I thought of this topic is, as most of you know, I am back in Conshohocken at the Salon, Luxe Color Lounge, that I've had for that location is over, I think, 22 years, but I've had a salon since 1989. And I've been out of that salon for 5 years. So going back to the salon is like bringing up all of these things that are so clear and obvious to me that are happening in the salon from the younger staff, are happening with clients, are happening with my friends who own salons. I'm having a lot of reconnection dinners with people that, own salons that I'm in the company of. And I'm just like, oh man, I really have to get this off my chest. So again, whether you take it as advice and try to change something is entirely up to you. Have you ever had dinner with, someone much older than you? Like for me, it was my husband's grandmother, Lucy. Loved Lucy. She was amazing. One of my favorite people. She was a hairdresser. So her and I connected right off the bat. Like as soon as I met my husband and I met her, we always had something to talk about. She always had her hair done, her makeup done. She always was dressed to the nines. And I was like, wow, I want to be her when I'm her age. I want to care as much about my appearance then as I do now. Sometimes I go in and out of that phase, but she was incredible. And I noticed at a lot of family dinners, I was the only one leaning in to her words of wisdom because we related on the salon level, where maybe other people at the table were like, oh, grandmom's, preaching again. But like her story was so amazing and so interesting. And what I found with being with my mom, who is, in her senior years, people tend to, when they're in the company of people who have a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom, they're in their own world and they're talking to everybody else about what's going on right now. And they're not listening to the stories of someone that's gone before you, who's seen things, experienced things, and can keep you out of your own way and have you do it differently. So enough about that. Number one, the first episode, I want it to be that I would hire a personal assistant, not a salon assistant, a personal Elaine assistant. And I know why, but I just can't even believe that that was my belief, that I wasn't deserving of having one person just with me. You know, it was always so difficult to find an overall salon assistant that I was like, how dare I take them just for me? But what I did in thinking I was not enough, I was not worthy with all of my years experience, all of my skin in the game and all the stress that I had with being the owner that I didn't deserve, I did all my own shampoos. The overall salon assistant would be in the building and one of the other girls would grab them to do a shampoo while they sat downstairs and leisurely sipped their coffee while I have like two colors going at the same time. I need the sink. We only had two sinks and we had, you know, like 7, 8 people doing hair with two sinks. And I would just wait patiently for the sink and then I would shampoo them myself and back up my whole day. What was did I think that I was showing them how strong I am, how tough I am and how much I can do more than them and I can work circles around them. It's that old school mentality that we were brought up with. You know, work hard, hard work pays off. Don't depend on anybody. Don't, you know, don't be needy, you know, do your own thing. And I look back and I'm like, right now I have a colorist in training that Bryn said to her, I want you to be right with Elaine the entire time she's there. This is an amazing gift that she is with you for 3 weeks. You're going to learn what her members would give their right arm to stand beside her. Like I've had a bunch of members reach out and say, can I come? You're in the area. Can I come and shadow you? But the salon is so crazy right now because I'm trying to fill in for Alicia who's not there and it's already busy. And, you know, having somebody standing around and getting in the way is just not ideal right now. But I think because they're there every day, because it's their salon that they work in, they don't understand the gift that having a seasoned mentor really is. So, you know, she's been great. She's been standing by me as much as she can. But because she's an overall salon assistant, there's a bajillion times when, like, right at the moment that I would really like her to film something that I'm doing for my membership or to be my human hair clip. I learned that from Beth Minardi, how you can have an assistant literally be your human hair clip instead of when you're trying to put color in between foils and you're folding a foil up and you're clipping it and you're putting the color in between and then you're flipping the next foil up and clipping it and doing the hair in between. When you have that human hair clip, you're motoring through that service so much faster, so much more efficiently. And I've been able to do that in these 2 weeks that I've been here when I can never do that when I'm doing models. I can do it. Johnny's awesome when he's not with a client, but for the most part, I'm on my own again. And when I'm doing a model, I'm doing everything because I still don't get it. It still hasn't clicked in that not only is me having a one-on-one assistant good for me, it's an opportunity for them to really observe and see, how do I behave when a client is late? I talked last week about the grumpy client and most of you didn't catch my comment about her zipper. So I was disappointed by that. That means you guys come at 10 o'clock and you listen for a couple minutes and then you turn me off because I would have had a lot of crying emojis on something that I said about 3/4 of the way in on last week's chat. But anyway, that grumpy client that I said that about, watching me shift the energy of her visit and have her be putty in my hands and want to be my BFF from coming in grumpy and wanting to make me feel like shit. So I completely twisted that with emotional intelligence. And you're going to see in one of these weeks, one of the things I would do differently
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way,
I take back all the words that have hurt you, and you say, so if I could go back, I would know that I deserve to have someone with me, and I would know that they deserved that strong mentorship in showing them how to have emotional intelligence. So one of the things is learning about emotional intelligence sooner. And there's many more to come. Every week will be a different thing because there's so many things that I would do differently. And I will continue to shout it from the rooftops, to record it. It's in my mentorship. I have a whole entire library of, if I could turn back time, things that may be the same as what I'm talking about here, or maybe different. I haven't looked, but I recorded them for anyone who's willing to put the time into a free mentorship. I'm still blown away that people have zero videos done and zero open rate on their free course. That is a hefty, juicy, amazing free mentorship. It's mind-blowing to me. So what I'm seeing both firsthand in my own salon and in the mentorship is you cannot motivate another person. Tony Robbins cannot motivate my staff to remove the stains on the hairline the way that they need to. I have gone over every single day I've been here. I've showed them again how to remove stains on the hairline. I had a client come up to me and hug me with tears in her eyes. She's been coming to the salon for 20 years. I love her dearly. I haven't seen her in 5. And she said, Elaine, can you please show the girls what you did to my hair? I don't have any stain on my forehead. I love you. And gave me the biggest kiss. I also had a client on a negative note come up to me, or she was sat in my chair, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. I said, what's going on here? And I was careful because I'm like, maybe Alicia made her darker. Maybe Jess made her darker. Like maybe it was us that did this. Her hair was like really Elvis dark on her sides. I said, girlfriend, you're looking like Donald Trump right now. You have like the dark on the sides and the way, way blonde on the top. I'm like, what's going on here? And she said, Elaine, I almost didn't come back. I almost didn't come today. And she said, the only reason I came back today is because I saw that you were doing my hair. I got the email that you were going to be doing my hair because I wanted to tell you how disappointed I am that I've been coming here for a really long time. And I had a cancer scare and I had to cancel my last appointment. And I called and I left a message and I said, I have to go and have this procedure done. It was sudden. I didn't know, the doctor was available. She had to go that day. And I said, please call me back. I want to reschedule. Nobody called her back. She called again after the procedure. Nobody called her back. She called again. Nobody called her back. So she said, I wasn't going to come back. I felt like, here I am going through this thing and I can't even get an appointment to get my hair done. And I said, well, how did you end up getting your appointment today? And she said, I always make my next 3 appointments. So I had this appointment and I wasn't going to come. And then I saw that you were going to be here and you make me laugh and I wanted to come and see you. And I said, you know what? Thank you for telling me because I'm in Florida. And I would not have known that I said, you are truly one of my favorite clients. And she goes, you say that to everybody. And I turned to Jess and I said, have you heard me say that once since I've been here? And she's like, no, she actually hasn't. And she truly is my fave. And I invited her to come see her son lives near me in Florida. I'm like, don't let those Florida hairdressers jack up your beautiful color. Come see me in Florida. I'll travel a little bit to you, or you can travel a little bit to me and we'll make it work. She's the only one that I invited to come get her hair done in Florida. So because she had to go somewhere else in between, they misjudged her natural level, misjudged the formulation, and now we have a big project on our hands. I had to do a lot of work to even make her look somewhat back to her normal self. It couldn't all be done in one visit. As usual, I'm going completely off task of turning back time, but it does make sense in the approach of if I had a personal assistant that's just my assistant, she would be following up on every single person who had to cancel, every single blank space in my book. She would have the time to go on my book and say, oh, you have an opening in 2 hours. Do you want me to call that person on the waiting list? I'm behind the chair. I got the gloves on. I'm in the weeds always. Because I'm always doing more than they signed up for because they come in, oh, I just want to retouch. I'm like, honey, you need way more than that. So we end up doing more. And I'm happy to do it, but it involves a little bit of juggling of the schedule. And I don't have time to then stop, take my gloves off, go to the desk, call the next person and say, hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes behind. Take your time, grab your coffee or come early, sit and have a glass of wine, whatever it is. But giving them that courtesy call of, hey, I'm not going to take you on time. And giving them the option of they can reschedule if it's not going to work for them. Don't let them just come in and be pissed off that they're waiting. There was an incident with the book in The Other Colorist. Because I'm looking at the schedule for myself, being the owner, I can't help but look at everyone else's schedule. And I'm like, wait a minute, that client is in with Jess on Wednesday at 10 and Thursday at 11. So I'm like, we have a wait list right now. Alicia's not here. She's booked 6 months in advance. She's an excellent colorist. I'm like, I'm doing all I can while I'm here, but this is like a domino thing. We can't let those two spots stay filled with one person because we know one of them is going to be stood up, either the first or the second. And then we've lost that opportunity to get another client in. So I spotted it. We have 3 support staff people that could have spotted that. They don't care. They're not looking because it doesn't affect their paycheck. They get paid by the hour, whether that stylist has that person come in or not. So they don't care. Yes, they're told to confirm people, but they would have confirmed that person the day before when it's too late to fill that appointment in the next morning in most cases. So having that person right by me, and when I'm in there right now using Vish that I was complaining about last week, that it feels way too complicated. It's backing me up all day. If I had a personal assistant well trained, she is now mixing every one of my formulas in Vish. And Vish is telling her exactly what that client has down to the milligram, and she's reaching for that color and subliminally learning formulation because she's saying, oh, this is what Sandy looks like before. She has this percentage of gray and it's darker in the back. And this is what I pulled for her. And this is what I mixed. So when I then have a client in my chair that looks like that, I'm going to know to use 8N and 8B. I'm going to know that she needs 50% natural, 50% cool because she has some natural dark hair and she's lightening her hair and she has 50% gray. So it's a learning, amazing mentorship moment. It's not, oh, I'm her bitch. I'm doing all her dirty work. I have to mix her color. I have to put the towel around the client. I have to put the hairline cream on the client. It's not that at all. It's them meeting, greeting, making eye contact, introducing themselves to the guest. These are all skills that then they are now getting in consultation, in client care, in seeing me have the client. Okay, I need to see you in 4 weeks. 4 weeks is September, blah, blah, blah. Is that a good day and time for you? We don't say, would you like to make another appointment? You wanna? No. We're like, okay, we need to see you in 4 weeks, just like your doctor does. Doctor wants to see you back in 4 weeks to check in and make sure everything's okay. What do you think that is? The doctor gets you in there for the copay. My mom just went through this. She was totally fine. And they're like, well, we want to have you come back in after you're done the medicine. I said, Mom, that could be a phone call. How you feeling? Did you finish the medicine? Okay, great. They had you come in because they know they're going to bill Medicare for $200 or whatever a visit is. And they're happy to do that for you to have to get in your car and find a parking spot and be stressed out with traffic, all because they told you you had to be there and you listen because it's a doctor. Well, if you set up that relationship with your clients, they will then trust you as well as they trust a doctor. Another example of trust of having a client well trained is 2 of Alicia's clients, simple gray coverage retouches. Their formula is in Vish. Anyone, anywhere could do that formula because it's so dialed in to the exact increments of color, as long as they know how to use the damn machine, which I don't. They could do those retouches. They were scheduled with me because I'm doing Alicia's clients, and they called back and said, no, I'm not coming. I don't know who this girl is, and I don't want her doing my hair. I think they thought I was somebody right out of school that they were just throwing these clients to. And I will never know if it was fear-based misinformation, that they had no idea who I was. They were instructed, the front desk girls were instructed to say, the person doing your hair is the founder of the salon. She has personally trained every single person that works here in color. She trained Alicia right from beauty school many, many years ago. And Elaine has been her only instructional trainer the entire time she's been with her. And you are in great hands because she's, going to be doing your color. And I know that they didn't hear that because I would never think that a client would want to wait an additional 6 weeks to have their gray now be down here and need to be a little bit of a corrective situation because they were afraid of someone who has 36 years experience and is a color educator. So off track again, but just to let you know that it's a good thing when clients are that loyal to a certain person, because Alicia will be able to step right back in behind the chair and pick up where she left off because those clients really know, like, and trust her. And that's important. But it's also important, if you're on here watching and you're a salon owner, you want to make sure that your clients are well aware that everyone that touches them and is in that space is very well trained in a culture that is like same, that it would not be any different of an experience. She might hear a couple curse words that she wasn't ready for and hear a naughty, dirty story coming from me versus Alicia, but I can pretty much read the room and I can tell who I can have fun with and who I can't. So it's been interesting to see, to have the girls that are, junior stylists watching me be very serious with a client that I've never met before, and very professional, saying, I'm going to follow exactly what Alicia did. How's your color? Yada, yada. And then when someone like Sue, my fave, comes in and I'm telling her funny stories about, completely inappropriate things, they're kind of like, wait a minute, who is the girl from yesterday? And who's this girl? So it's been very entertaining for all of us. And I hope you were entertained by my little share piece there. So yes, having a personal assistant is 1,000% something that I regret not doing. If and when I ever did any kind of one-on-one training type thing again, which I don't know that I will, because I'm really getting a lot of what's the word? It's like having an ongoing survey being in the salon right now of what I think is good, what I think is not good, what I think is the best learning environment. But in 1,000%, even if I were to go into a solo suite and do my own thing, if I did not own a salon, and when I first moved to Florida, for example, I went into a suite. I would never dream of hiring an assistant because I didn't even have enough clients to pay my rent. But in retrospect, I would absolutely, right from the beginning, hire an assistant, because those clients would be used to an assistant applying their glazes, an assistant putting the cape and towel on them, an assistant making their coffee, where I always spoiled my clients from the beginning, doing everything for them. And then they didn't feel the need to tip the person who shampooed them, the person who blew them dry, the person, it's like that. So I definitely 100%, if I could turn back time, would hire a personal assistant, and I would train the living hell out of them. And they would be a genius colorist in a very short amount of time, because they would be seeing nothing but color all day long. And I would have them making notes of every question that they had when they're with me, so that when the client is not there, key not there, we could have a conversation of, why did you do this? Why did you do that? I would never think to do this. What about that? So thank you for watching. Next week, I'm going to talk about another thing that if I could turn back time, I would do differently. And I really hope that if you're watching and you're like, oh no, I would never have an assistant, because for all the reasons that I used to say that I did not need one, I hope that you'll at least try it and give somebody new in the industry that opportunity to be in your light and have you shine on them and mentor them, all of the things that you would have done differently. See you next week.